So I don't know if that's just kind of a repeat of stuff or.
Yeah, this is all a lot of repeat of stuff. If you're starting to feel familiar, you don't necessarily have to do something. We can go a little deeper today is what my plan will be. Is I'm going to, instead of asking y'all to just make an active record project, I'm going to ask y'all to make an active record project with a relationship. So it'll be a little bit more complicated. Not super complicated, though. Okay? Cool. I'm sharing my screen. No, I'm not sharing my screen. I just started the recording. For those of y'all just following on the recording, today we're going to do a quick build and burn in active record. And then after that, I'm going to have y'all do some work. Cool. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to, not the election results. Hopefully no one's set by what they just saw or whatever. I don't want to, get anyone distracted.
Uh-oh.
Okay. It's all good, brother. I don't watch television.
Great. So now I'm going to go to Damon's. Let's see. Damon, it's Damon LC21 boilerplate setup. Okay, cool. We're going to do that. Copy this down. Cool. I'm going to open up a terminal.
If you could post that link, please.
No. Just kidding.
Pretty please with sugar on top.
Yeah, I got you.
Thanks, man.
I'm going to put it in the Slack. I'm going to put it in y'all's group Slack. Boop, 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 boop.
If I forked that and then I worked off of that, I saved it to my bookmarks.
So let me show you how I would set up this project. I know what you're asking, I think. So I want to create a new GitHub repo, save my GitHub repo, and have it not affect the last time I clone this down. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about how we would do that. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and clone this down. So do I have a boilerplate one already? Because if I do, I'll just delete it. But there's ways to do this without doing that. But here, I'm just going to go ahead and copy it down. I don't know that this is the right thing here. I think that might be I have to get it from here. Oh, wait, that was it. Oh, well, whatever. So git clone, copy that. I'm going to press enter. And now if I look here, I have a boilerplate set up. Well, first of all, I could just change the name of that. So how do I change the name of a directory? I actually don't remember. I never used this command.
It's the same as move. It's like MV.
Yep, I think it's move and then the first file name and then the second file name. But hey, part of my job here is to show you that you don't have to know everything. Cool. So yeah, it's MV. So I'm going to take MV and then boilerplate setup. I'm going to change that to be, what is our app going to be about? What do we want to make an app regarding? Do it. Let's think.
Just pets, I guess. Dogs and cats, I guess.
Dogs. I love dogs.
Dogs, yeah.
Dogs and owners. Cool. Or we'll call them dogs and human friends. Cool. So now I should have this dogs and human friends in here. Cool. Let's CD into that. And I want to show y'all something. So you see how this shows up here? If this does not show up for you, you need to look into getting Oh My Zish installed. Who, raise your hand if this little something like this shows up, where it says Git Master on it. I'm raising my hand. It shows up for me. Cool. If it's not showing up for you, we should meet at some point today and discuss how to fix that.
Well, it does say master. It just doesn't say Git master.
Oh, that's fine. As long as it's
okay.
Your Git branch, that's what you want.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Some people, I think, don't even have that set up, but it helps so much when you do. So what that tells me is that there's a dot in, if anywhere, like let's say I'm in this dogs and humans friends, I could CD to anywhere in here. Like I'll just CD into, I'll CD into like config, right? And it's still inside of that repo, so it shows up. But basically, it just tells me which GitHub repo I'm in, and that's super helpful. Who knows the difference between Git and GitHub. Can anybody explain that to me?
You can give it a shot.
Please.
GitHub is the place where all the repos live. And Git is what you use to like communicate between your computer and GitHub.
Okay, sort of. I think we could do better than that. So
Okay.
Git is the version control software that lives on your computer. So in that, let's say I have this directory here. I'm saving all my versions of this directory locally on my computer. So that is what Git is doing. It's basically like, let's say I'm playing Pokemon and I hit save. It's just like my Game Boy. It like has all of those versions on it. Okay. What GitHub allows me to do, GitHub is a website that I could upload my Git project to. So spit that back at me, Cassie. What is the difference between Git and GitHub for right now?
Okay, so GitHub is the place where you store your projects online, and Git is sorry, the way that I forgot what you said.
Git is the version control software on
version control software on my computer that allows me to communicate with GitHub. Yes.
The biggest thing I want to drill in your heads right now is that Git lives on your computer, GitHub lives somewhere else.
Okay.
So right now, I can actually see that this is a Git project where if I type in ls-a on the root direct, ls and then -a on the root directory, you see this file here called .git. That's the thing that stores all the old versions of the code, and it's the thing that interfaces with the Git command line. All of that happens because of this .git file. Let's see what happens when I delete that. I'm going to type in rm rf, and .git. So rf is just remove folder. So that's to remove a whole directory. Cool. So I did that. You notice anything change already?
Master.
Master's gone. And that's good because it's not good, but it is what it is. It's telling me that I'm no longer tracking this project in Git. So what that means is I deleted its connection to the GitHub, right? So this was already linked to GitHub. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new project for myself. So I could go to github.com/new. I'll go here. I'll create a new project. So I'm going to call it Dogs Owners Active Record. I have really creative names for my project. Cool, whatever. Awesome. I'm going to hit create. Bam. And if you aren't following along with this, that's okay. This is not Active Record, obviously. This is Git. So now what I could do is I could just copy all of this shit. Boom, boom, ba-doom, boom. Or actually, yep. So I can copy and paste all this. Bam. I'm going to go to here. Paste that into the command line. Press enter. And cool. Now look at what's back. Except for it says main now instead of master. But that's, you guys are, literally this is something that happened very recently. Like I want to say like a month ago or something. They started making new projects default like master branch. They called it main. But yeah. So now I have, I'm going to type in git add all git commit -m. I'm just going to say my second commit with the entire project added. Cool. Now if I go to my GitHub and I just refresh this, well, I have a new GitHub project that has, I'm missing stuff. Hang on a second. Oh, I didn't push. I just did the add and the commit. So this is a concept here. Committing is saving onto your local Git. And then you have to type in git push origin main. And then now this is what connects it to my project on GitHub. And if you see now, all my projects are on here. Cool. Anybody have any questions about that? That was not active record, but thought it might be a cool time to go over that. Plus, it'll be important on your project anyway, so. Any questions? Someone's got to have questions. GitHub is confusing as hell. I'm still confused by it. Someone's got to have a question there.
What did you click? What was the first thing you clicked to make the new repo?
The first thing I clicked to make the new repo, if you go to github.com/new, that's how I usually do it. But I think you could also just go to github.com. And when I go to github.com, I think I can just hit that new button and same thing.
Oh, right.
See, github.com/new. It just takes me right there anyways.
And then you just name it and save it and it's there.
Yep. We can practice doing that another time, but I thought it might be cool to go over. All right, let's open this motherfucker up in code. Bam. Cool. I missed my pink terminal. I had a pink terminal here in my other computer. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna get it back.
Now it's like a rustic red.
It's rustic red, and I hate the way this part looks. That looks disgusting to me. All right, anyways. So let's get this initial configuration set up. I have to change this from cats. Well, I'll just do pets. Cool. Awesome. Give that a save. My environment is requiring everything from a folder called the library. So I should probably make a library folder so it's not confused. So I am going to go here, new folder. Or I could also just go into my command line and type in make directory lib. And I think I might be able to make two directories at the same time. I can't remember. But let's say I have a models inside of there. No, it doesn't work. I have to do make directory lib. But I can chain commands and say make directory lib/models. See, bam, cool. I made both of those. I have lib, I have models. Great. Cool. Sweet. What is the next thing that I'm going to do?
Create a migration.
Create a migration. What is a migration?
Like a blueprint.
Migration is like a blueprint that, what is the end product of that blueprint?
A database.
Yep, the structure of your database. Cool. I already am loving the answers that I'm getting this morning. Better than yesterday. It feels like progress. That's great. Sweet. How do I make a migration?
Create migration, and then like name in all capitals equals.
Rake, DB create migration, name. And what would be a good name for this migration?
Create pets or something.
Okay, so we use snake case here. And why did you call it create pets instead of just pets?
Because it'll get kind of confusing because we're going to make a class called pet, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And on like the Google, it seems like standard format is to put create first.
Yeah, and also not just standard format. Like it doesn't have to be create. But the point is that I'm creating a migration, and what does a migration do? A migration creates a part of the database. Well, in this case, we are creating a part of a database. I could also make one that's like maybe delete a column from pets or like delete the pets table. That would also be a satisfactory name. Now it is just a name though. So this is just a convention. I don't think it's going to fuck you up too much if you don't do it. But if you leave this as pets, it will fuck you up because you have to name a model pet somewhere else.
So just as long as you give your name something that you will not name anything else, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, we could try it. Create. Let's do it. Let's do create, but spelled wrong. Crate pets. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Cool. So now I have this, and this is just to prove to you that it doesn't really matter. So in my migration folder, I have this create pets.rb, even though it's supposed to say create, doesn't really matter. Okay. Remember how I said I really don't remember this part? I still don't remember it, so I'm going to Google it. We're going to look up create table Ruby. Cool. Sweet. Bam. Stealing code. Awesome. Cool. So what's going to go here?
Pets.
That warms the cockles of me heart. All right. I had a French teacher that used to say that in high school.
What's a cockle?
What?
What's a cockle?
I don't know, honestly, but she always used to say it. I know
Is it healthy to have cockles in your heart?
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it's a bad thing. What if I'm cursing and I don't even know it? I just assumed that my French teacher was like not that type of person that would just say inappropriate shit.
Maybe the cockles are only unhealthy if they're cold.
Yeah. Who knows?
Cockle is an edible marine
Mollusk.
mollusk.
There you go. Edible marine mollusk.
Cockles all day.
That warms the cockles of me heart.
That's,
Sounds like something a pirate would say.
I agree. But like also like a really nice pirate.
Yeah.
All right. So
Who gives treasure?
yeah, who gives credit? Okay, so we have pets here. What are our properties of our pets? Maybe
Name and age.
name, cool. We're gonna do age. What data type is age gonna be?
Integer?
Oh. By the way, does anybody know the difference between string and text?
I was just gonna ask that.
Text is for a bunch of like more characters. Like if you're gonna have a lot of words.
String has a lower limit on the amount of characters you can have in a given cell. Text is more. So let's say I wanted to store a whole document worth of text. Where do you think I might store that? Or what?
In a table cell that allows text.
Yeah, I would store that with text. But I don't, it's overkill if it's just a name. I don't think anybody has a name that's 3,000 characters. I mean, and if they do, man, fuck them. That's ridiculous. Imagine that in like, you're in school and you're like, whatever. Anyways, I'm just gonna shut up. We're gonna go now. Okay, cool. So, integer, age. Anything else that we might want on this pets table?
Could do a Boolean has fur.
Cool. I like that. Yeah, that's cool. Boolean has fur. Cool. And then let's do, I'm going to not run this migration though yet. I don't want to run this yet. I want to think a little bit about something else. Before we actually do anything in Active Record, let's talk about what this relationship looks like in the context that you already know how to establish relationships. Okay, so start drawing. We have pets. We have users. Okay. Pets. Owners. All right. What would be the relationship between these two things? We're going to assume, I'm going to make the assumption that each pet has one owner, but one owner can have many pets. That's not a great assumption, but it's what we're going to assume. Okay.
One to many.
Okay. So how would I draw that out?
It would be just, you could do a vertical a vertical slash on the owner side, just to indicate that that one's blocked off. and then do a caret end coming from the line into the pets.
There we go. Now, let's say I have pets, I have owners. What needs to be in, what data type needs to exist in my pets? What? What data type needs to exist in my pets table?
A string, an integer, and a boolean, right?
A string,
An owner.
An owner. I need to reference an owner here. Needs. Cool. Does anybody know how I would do that in Active Record?
You would just put T and then string owner under where we were at.
Nope. Good guess though.
I've seen it before. It's like has one-to-many relationship, so you write it out, but I'm not sure about the syntax.
That's part of it, but how do we just do it in the migration part is what I'm trying to ask. So that is part of it. We'll talk about that later though.
Does it involve the whole caret thing? No, never mind.
Let's look at this line. Ignore the polymorphic part. But you see how this says T dot references? And then it references something. This is a data type that we plug into Active Record, and then it knows to look into another thing. So this is T dot references manager. So can you have is this giving you maybe an idea of what we should do here?
Very much, yeah.
Cool. You got reference owner?
Yep. T dot references owner. Cool. I'm not sure if this will run. We might have to remake these. I can't remember if the order matters, but in theory, we should actually make the owner first, because by the time we build this table, the owner table has to exist in order to reference it. But we'll see what happens. So we have this data type. Then we have to do, let's try running it now, see what happens. Rake, DB migrate. I'm curious what'll happen. I think it'll break because we don't have an owner yet. Oh, I guess it ran. Weird.
Mine aborted.
Yours aborted?
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't save it.
Mine created it, but it just left out the reference thing.
Oh, really? Interesting. Rake, DB.
Like in the schema, it left it out.
Yeah, and there's no reference, T dot reference in the schema.
Same.
Interesting. That makes sense. That's probably what happened on mine too.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exact. Oh, no. It has owner ID. Yeah, so this is what it would look like if it did it right.
Oh,
Yeah, mine has that too, actually.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mine does not have that.
Okay, well, we're going to restart just because it's better practice to do the owner first anyways.
Roll back.
Yep, or here we could actually just do a DB drop too, but
A Rick rollback.
okay, we'll do, in the name of Rick Astley, we'll do a rollback. Cool, so we did a rollback. Bam, I'm going to go ahead and delete this migration now. And then what we're going to do is we are going to create another migration. Rake, DB, create migration, name equals, this time we're going to do create owners.
You have to delete the schema too that you just created.
The schema is gone. It just didn't look like it. Oh, wait, what? Yeah. Did I do rake DB rollback? That shouldn't be looking like that.
yeah, mine's gone. I just rolled back. Thank you.
Yeah, all the info's gone out of mine.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I'm just going to do a rake DB drop, which I guess I could get rid of this now. Oh, there it goes. No, did it get rid of itself? It did not. I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to delete it. We're starting fresh. Cool. Rake DB, create migration, and let's just create both of them now. So I'm going to say owner or create owner. Name equals create owner. And then I'm going to do rake DB create migration. name equals create pets. Oh, I should have called that create pets. Create owners, I mean, is what I should have called that. So actually, I think I can rename this create owners, and this should say create owners. And now give that a save. Great. Cool. Create pets. Great. Cool. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to go here. We're going to copy this again. Actually, I'm going to try doing it off memory this time. Create underscore table, table name. It's a do block. Cool. Let's try it. Create underscore table, table name, which is going to be what?
Owner pets.
Pets. And then we're going to do block with T in there and our do block. And now we just need all these. Let's do the T dot timestamps. Why not? We were going to do all the other stuff from before. We'll get back to that one. Let's do the owner first. Cool. So I'm going to do, create table. Table name, right? Is that right?
Yeah. Owners.
Yep. Owner. And then that's do that, end it. And now we could just say, okay, so we're going to have, what are we going to have? What are our owners going to have?
Names.
Names. T dot, oh, whoops. Name is going to be a string. T dot string. Name. Cool. We're going to have age. T dot integer. Age. Cool. That's all we need for now. And then maybe a T dot timestamps. Probably just good practice. I see it on everything, so I'm assuming it's good practice. Awesome. For our pets are going to have a name, T dot string name. It's also going to have T dot, what else? Age, T dot integer, age, and we're also going to have what on here?
References owner.
Dot references owner. Cool.
Don't forget the has for Boolean.
Of course. So T dot Boolean has fur. By the way, this is a really cool thing. I'm really glad that he called it has fur. So when we have Booleans, a lot of people will call this variable fur or something like that, but then I don't know whether it's a true or false. If I see something like is furry or has fur, that indicates to me that it is a Boolean. It's like, does it have fur? Yes or no? That's, if I answer that question to myself, that's easier to read code, because now I can infer that that will be a Boolean type based off the name of that attribute. So in general, if you have a Boolean, starting it with like is or has or something like that is a great way to do programming where other people can follow along with your logic. Awesome. So I'm going to say has fur. I like that one. And we're going to see if we fucked anything up when we try and migrate this. So I'm going to type in.
T references owner or owners?
Owner. So a pet has a owner. So it references an owner. Good question. It's not exact. Like, I'm not saying that like, oh, isn't it obvious? It should just be owner. Like, that's just my way of remembering it. Like owner, it's not exactly intuitive. Like it could be, oh, it references the owner's table. But in this case, I think you just type in owner. It might actually get it either way. Rails has some like checks in there. So sometimes it'll get it either way. Sorry, active record. Cool. Let's see our schema. Awesome. We have an owner's table. And then, we have an integer for owner ID. And then we have this line of code that says it's indexing owner ID. I think this is going to work, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out.
So you did migrate and then you put the name?
Wait. All I did was migrate. I just typed in rakedb migrate. When you type in rakedb migrate, it runs this file, then this file, and it's going to run those in order. But it says, okay, has this ran yet? Nope, this has. So let's say I were to create a migration right now. Then if I were to create a migration right now, it would add another file here, but that file will have not run. So if I type in rakedb migrate again, it's going to skip this one, and go to the one that it hasn't ran yet. I could show you all that in a bit.
So if you had several that you hadn't run, it would just file through them and run each one as it came along them?
Yeah, so if I had several that I had to run, yeah, exactly. If I run db migrate, what it'll do is it'll run only the ones that are not ran yet. There's no point of running the same blueprint twice, right? If it's already built, the only reason why it's still here is because now Active Record can track that it was already built. So it's like, okay, I already built this. I already built this. So if I want to roll back, I need these files to figure out how to go backwards.
Would also love during for today to find out how to select which ones to roll back.
Can you? I don't think you could. You can't do it that way. Roll back, the command that undoes things one at a time. You can define an amount of steps to roll back. But it goes backwards in your database by one migration. That's how rollback works. What?
Keep migration small.
Right. What I could do is do like I could make a nut. So this is what I was talking about with fixing forward. Let's say I created this owners table and I wanted to get rid of this owners table. And this is like later on in my project. What I would actually do is create a migration to delete the owners table. So in my migration files, maybe I have like a create owners table, and then I would have a create pets table. And then I'd be like, we don't need the owners anymore. Delete owners table as its own migration or something like that. It's not a good example of a migration that you would do, but it's an example of like how that would look. Any questions on that? Okay, sweet. So what do we got to do now? Let's make some seeds. And Alan, I know you might be thinking, do we have to do the has many, whatever, all that? No, we don't have to do that yet. Well, I'll show, because I'd rather show you why we do that than just say, oh, here's all the steps. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go in our seeds file and just see if we can make some shit. So first, let's just make some owners, right? So let's go, John equals, well, we want to start this off with owner.destroy. I'm going to say John equals owner.create. And then sometimes I find it helpful to pull up my schema on the right, so I just remember what has to go into it. So in this case, we need a name, an age, and that's it.
Why are you starting off with owner.destroy? What exactly is that doing?
Oh, whoops, I meant destroy all. So that means if I run this reseed file again, I'm not writing the same data twice. That's all. I'm going to be running this seed file a bunch of times. So I'm going to do owner.create. And fun fact, inside of here, Ruby has a lot of things that are implicit. And in this case, it's actually what you're doing is you're passing in an argument of a hash. So actually, the argument to create is one hash, and each key of that hash is one of these like attribute values. So for example, I could say name is going to equal John, and then age, whoops, I need a comma there. Age is going to equal 27. And let's see if this runs. Raise your hand if you think this will run. Okay.
Not enough arguments, right?
Not enough
Oh,
argument.
we are missing one thing though.
Yeah.
The create doesn't exist if I'm looking at this correctly.
Sorry, I was thinking about pets. Never mind.
A lot of great thoughts here. It's actually going to break even sooner before the create.
Yeah, we don't have an owner class.
Nah, that's the ticket right there. Let's see if we can figure that out though by reading this error message. Rake DB seed. Cool. Let's read our error message that we get. Oh, I might not have saved this. Okay, let's see. Oh gosh, it's really slow. Cool. Uninitialized constant owner. We haven't created an owner class yet. So we're going to go into our library. We're going to go into our models, and we are going to create an owner.rb. Cool. And while we're at it, we can make a pets.rb. Oh, whoops, pet.rb. Cool. What goes in here? We'll do the owner first.
Class owner.
What?
Go ahead, Colt.
Class owner inherits from active record : base end.
Love it. And is that all we need?
Yeah.
Cool. Great. I'm just going to take this code, press Command A to highlight it all, press Command C to copy it. We're going to go to pet, go right here, and we're just going to refactor this to say pet. Give that a save, give this a save. Yeah, let's see if it works. Cool. Hey, looks like it worked. And while I'm at it, I'm actually going to run a binding.pry down here. So that way we can look at our shit. Binding.pry, let's see. Okay, we're going to go owner.all. Cool. It worked. It ran. Awesome. Quick check for understanding. What is the data type of the input argument to the create function?
Hash.
A hash. And the hash, what is the key and what is the value on that hash?
The key is the what column it belongs to,
Yep.
and the input is the row.
I wouldn't say it's the row, it's the value in that
Right.
column. Yeah, I think
the
that's
value of each cell.
It could be, that could be a correct way of saying it. I don't think of things in terms of SQL that much, but yeah. Sweet. So you don't actually need this hash. I just like to think of it that way because it makes more sense to me. Yeah. And this could be written just as easily like this. This would be like what you would typically see, because part of the reason why this exists this way is just to write short code. I actually don't like that about Ruby. I think it makes it harder to understand things when they do all this stuff that makes your code short, but not necessarily more readable, I think. Anyways, that's just my opinion. Cool. So let's say I want to make a pet. Let's make Doomslayer is a pet. Okay. And let's see what a pet needs. We got a lot of properties on pet. So what do you think I'm going to do here?
Pet.create.
Cool. And then let's treat it like it is just a hash. What am I going to have here?
Keys and values.
Yep. So we're going to start with name. I'm going to say name equals Doomslayer, always all caps. Age is going to equal 1. He's really 9 months, but this is in years. So owner ID. What do we think is going to go here?
1.
Why 1?
Because we created the John variable under owner, and that's going to have an ID of 1 when it's created.
There's a problem though. I already ran this seed file, right? So that means that if I ran this seed file, John is not 1 anymore. John is actually probably 2 or 3 or something by now.
Even with the destroy all thing, if you like start it over?
Yep, even with the
Okay.
destroy all, it keeps incrementing.
Then I don't know.
Well, what if I just did this? That kind of seems like it'd work, right?
So you can, so I mean, clearly you've got to set up the relationships inside of the classes and the tables and everything. So it's all got to be integrated with the same relationships. But you can use a seeds table to create those links.
Yes. It's not that I'm creating the links necessarily. I need to have the data. I need to tell it what data it's storing it. So in other words, what did you do when you were like in your mod 1 code challenge, right? When you wanted 2 things to be related, you said, oh, okay, let's find all restaurants let's find all reviews where the restaurant name equals this restaurant name. Well, basically this is doing the same thing, except for you would be using the ID of the restaurant instead of the name. And that's just better practice because maybe I have like 2 restaurants that are named the same, like, in 2 different places. So maybe they have the same name, but an ID is always unique. So is that kind of answering some questions? Okay. But yeah.
That's nuts on my end. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so I have to reference the ID here. And what else is there? We have hasFur. That's it. Cool. So we're going to say forgot a comma. hasFur.
You don't need to be like in order, right? Since you're like defining the key value pairs, like you're not just passing in one thing.
What? Repeat that, please.
You just don't need to be like in order, right? Like you could put hasFur like before name and it would run, right? Or no?
Let's find out. There we go. Yeah, that's actually part of the advantage of, this is the reason why they use a hash basically as an argument. Because how do you index a hash? You index it by its key's value. You don't index it by the order that it's put in. That's part of the reason why we do it this way, or why it exists that way. Okay, so let's run this seeds file. See what we have here. Hey, it made it. That's good. So I'm going to go pet.all. Sweet. So I have all my pets. Owner.all. Got all my owners. And actually, I forgot to put a destroy all pets, which just sounds fucking brutal, but it's got to happen. Cool. All right. So cool. That's working. Now, so that means that we've successfully done a whole bunch of shit with Active Record. Let's talk about what we've done with Active Record. We've created a database. We've told this database, well, we're creating these objects that allow us to work with you. So now we can create items in that database. Actually, I could remove items from that database already with this, right? I could do all of that shit. And that's where we're at right now. Let's think about what we don't have, though. Well, what does ORM stand for again?
Object Relational Mapper.
Yep. So let's see if the relationships work here. How would I test to see if there's a relationship established between an owner and a pet?
So pet.owner.
Great. I should be able to check
The owner ID, right?
Right. So, well, I should be able to, I mean, that's just finding, yeah, I could definitely do that. I could say, let's say Doomy, or actually I already have Doomslayer. So if I pull up Doomslayer, cool, that's Doomslayer. I definitely could go Doomslayer.owner ID right now, and it will pull it up, right? Bam. And if I wanted to, I could do something like, I could do something like owner.all.find find where maybe we want to find each owner. And maybe we want to find out where owner ID is equal to Doomslayer, or actually it's where their ID, sorry, that defaults to just being called ID in there. Oh, well, no, it would be owner.id. Owner.id is equal to Doomslayer.owner ID. So I could do this to find, oh, okay, now I found John. But what if I told you I just didn't have to do that shit, because that's the whole fucking purpose of an object relational mapping, is to establish those relationships for you. We don't actually have to write that part. It's not that hard to write, but why do it if we don't have to? This is where we have to go into our models and tell them how to behave with each other. So an owner has, what does an owner have, many pets or have one, or what is the deal there?
Has many.
Owner has many pets. And what this really is this is a function that you're invoking. So this has many is actually just a method that you inherit from active record. And its argument is this thing, which is called a symbol in Ruby. Don't stress too much about what that is right now. Point is, has many is a function, and we're referencing pets. It has many pets. Cool. Then, give that a save. We also can say that a pet belongs to an owner. And again, you can put parentheses around this just to confirm to yourself this is indeed a function. Don't stress too much about that right now. If you put this on your code challenge, for mod 2, you will still be able to pass. So I'll keep it like this for now. Awesome. I'm going to rerun this now. So I'm going to exit my pry, and I'm going to do rake db seed. It's probably going to break. I wonder if anyone could figure out why. Oh, it didn't break? Oh, I think I might have had it in the correct order. I'll show you all that afterwards. Okay, so now, like Alan said, I should be able to check in. So Doomslayer exists. And then I also should be able to type in doomslayer.owner. And hey, look at that. Now it does it for me. This is how you establish the relationships in active record. You're establishing those relationships by writing these things.
So when I check owner all and pet all, I get both of those, like owner and pet in it. But then when I do doomslayer.owner, it says uninitialized constant Doomslayer.
Did you
what, sorry?
Did you name your did you name this Doomslayer, or did you just type in pet.create?
Let me check.
It's whatever you name that.
Yeah, I named it Doomslayer and John.
Want to pull up your screen?
Sure. Okay.
Cool.
So
I would put the pet.destroyAll in the beginning of the file. So put it right under owner.destroyAll. Cool. And then you're saying Doomslayer equals pet.create. Where's your binding.pry?
It's in the runner. Is that the problem?
Probably, yeah. Don't put it in the runner. Put it in the seeds file for now.
Okay. Can you explain why we're putting the binding.pry, why that affects things?
Well, we're going to use the runner file somewhere else. So the runner file is for something else. Don't worry about that. So the reason why we put it here, what were you running to hit the binding.pry?
Ruby runner.rb. And then I can do the .all on them and stuff. So I figured everything else would work too.
So the way that I think about it is like this. You run the seeds file, it's going to run this file directly. So you're going to say owner.destroyAll, cool. Pet.destroyAll, John equals owner.create, Doomslayer equals pet.create. Okay, now let's think about what's happening though when this runs. So when this seed file runs, the data is being saved in the database. What does not get saved though?
The
These variables.
okay.
These variables do not get saved because they're not going in the database. The database is the thing that persists. So after the seed file runs and stop running, nowhere else knows about the seed file other than that instance of you running through the seed file. And does that make sense?
Kind of.
So from your runner, you can still access the database. So in your runner file, you can access the database. What you cannot do is access these variables. Does that make sense?
Because they're like buried in the DB migrate seeds thing? Is that why? Or
It's not that they're buried there. It's just this file gets run. And if I'm running this file, I write this line of code. Now this line of code knows about, now 6 knows about the 4, right? But the second this file is done running, all that memory is wiped. What memory is not wiped, though, is the memory in the database where you're storing your data. That stays for good, unless you delete it or something like that. Variables inherently go away the second that this script is over, that it finishes running through. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Cool. That's
so I should be able to run it with the seeds now?
Yeah.
Like that?
No, you could try that, but you're going to run into an error. Oh, well, you'd have to go into DB and then seeds. And it's honestly a really easy error to fix.
Okay.
You'd have to do uninitialized constant owner. Why might that be? So let's see if you can figure this out. If you can't, that's okay.
Okay. So this is like the class owner, uninitialized constant owner, name error.
So the reason why that's happening is because you have not required in all of the files. What file would you require in to make that work?
Require what? Sorry?
So the reason why this is not working is because your seeds, the only reason why your seed file knows about owner and knows about pet is because in your rake db seed command, it first runs the environment file. So it actually knows about stuff. So if you wanted to, you could just run Ruby seeds. It's just way easier to type in rake db seed, and then you don't have to require in anything.
Oh, I kind of forgot about that. Well, okay, yeah, I already did that because it seeded the thing, so.
No, you could do it again because you're destroying all of them. So you're just running it again, and then now you're in the binding.pry.
Okay.
So now try typing in Doomslayer. It should work. No,
Okay.
I'm really glad you brought that up. Hopefully, did that clear anything up for anyone watching her do that?
Yeah, I think so. So rake db seed is just saying rake the seed file.
It's
run the seed file.
Yeah, it's saying run the seed file, but also it's saying before you do that, just make sure all your project dependencies are sorted out. So it like gets all the stuff from your environment and blah, 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 blah. And this is starting to come into maybe where you could start to see why like Ruby's whole convention over configuration is actually a good thing a lot of the times. It's like, for example, because I have my folder structured a certain way, under the hood, it knows exactly where to look for things so I could do things quickly by like using my command line, for example.
So your seed file has to be named seeds. That's a must.
Yes. I mean, you could definitely configure it to where it's not, but if you're going to use the rake db seeds command, yes, it has to be named seeds and it has to be inside of that database folder. The good news is that you don't usually configure this file structure manually. That's usually done for you by Ruby. So if I do, for example, when I create a Rails project, which has Active Record built into it, I just type in Rails new and then it builds it for me. So Cool. All right. Well, let's see. Cool. Does anybody have any questions?
So on this end, so that's just a one-to-many relationship, right? So if the owner has many, right? So it's that has many, colon deal, right? And then on the other end, where the information is stored, that belongs to.
No. So it's not where the information is stored, it's the models. The models,
Right.
Both models get those functions on them. So if I have a model that belongs to another model, I need to specify that on that model. If I have a model that has many of another model, I specify that on the model. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the information is always stored on the database, but so that the things being created know they have that relationship.
Yep. So my assignment to y'all, and we've actually been in here for an hour, so it's going to be more of a not with me assignment, but y'all should definitely hop in a room together. Build a one-to-many relationship in Active Record and help each other out. And I think you could do that probably in the next 30 minutes before lunch starts. I think that'd be a really good goal for yourself, is to try and get that done. And if you can't, no big deal. But I think it will solidify some stuff in your head. So the understanding Active Record by the end of the week puts you in a really good spot for next week. So y'all are doing pretty good as far as like learning things quick. So if this is all feels like, this is too much, y'all are doing well, just so you know. Like, yeah.
Thanks,
That's
John.
That's how I felt yesterday. Your lessons are really helping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
appreciate it,
Thanks
John.
again
Thank
for
you.
helping us out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Go be free and build shit. I know that this lesson wasn't really exclusively on migrations and the seeds, but I felt like we covered a lot of that theory yesterday, and all y'all were there. So I was kind of like, let's just go a little deeper. And I think that it's not going to hurt you to do that. Like, go and just if you can build a one-to-many relationship, you're going to be like, oh, cool. And then you could build a many-to-many relationship. See if you can figure that out without anybody showing you how to do it. And if you can't, that's okay. We could do it. But if you could figure that out, you're going to understand things better than if you follow a tutorial in a lesson. So that'd be a stretch goal for y'all. Maybe, maybe if
That's what I've been doodling on.
yeah, keep on doodling, my friend.
Keep doodling.
All right.
Thanks, John.
There you go.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good one. All right, bye.